The Russian state is falling apart faster than anyone could have imagined. While global attention remains fixed on the front lines of Ukraine, the real crisis, the one that could redefine Russia's future, is unfolding within its own borders. Across dozens of regions, the economy is collapsing, fuel shortages are spreading, and the social fabric is beginning to tear apart. The empire that once prided itself on endurance is now struggling to endure its own ambitions. For years, Vladimir Putin's government has claimed stability. Officials boasted that Western sanctions had failed and that the Russian economy was thriving. But beneath that polished narrative lies a reality few are willing to confront: an economy transformed into a machine of war, consuming itself from the inside out. Factories that once produced cars or machinery now churn out ammunition and drones. Skilled engineers are diverted from civilian industries to serve the military. Consumer goods vanish from shelves, while prices for essentials skyrocket. Inflation continues to climb, and ordinary citizens are left wondering how long they can survive. This is no longer a normal economy, it's a war economy. And war economies do not create prosperity, they drain it. Fuel, once Russia's greatest source of power, has become its most visible weakness. Ukrainian drone strikes have devastated key oil refineries, leaving entire regions struggling to keep vehicles moving. Across the country, lines of cars stretch for kilometers outside gas stations. In one region near Ufa, more than 70 cars were reported waiting through the weekend just to refuel. Many areas now have fuel reserves lasting barely 2 or 3 days. Without oil, there is no transport. Without transport, there is no trade. And without trade, the illusion of normal life vanishes. In desperation, the Kremlin has begun dumping crude oil on global markets at massive discounts, hoping to raise quick cash. But that strategy is unsustainable. It starves the domestic economy of resources and devalues Russia's greatest export. Moscow's financial system is running on fumes. The government has announced a record expansion of state bonds, forcing commercial banks to buy them. This means that money that could have gone to loans, innovation, or small business now flows directly into weapons production. The result? Ordinary Russians see nothing. Wages stagnate, prices rise, and regional budgets collapse. In 6 major provinces, financial reserves have dropped below 1% of annual budgets. Local authorities are begging Moscow for emergency funding, but the federal government itself is broke. The consequences are already visible: schools underfunded, hospitals short of medicine, and government employees going months without pay. Even in wealthy cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg, economic anxiety is spreading. Small business owners close their doors. Food prices rise weekly. And citizens whisper that the worst is still to come. As the economy crumbles, the Kremlin's response has been simple: control the narrative. In 2025, Russia increased its propaganda budget by more than 50%. While essential services are being cut, money continues to pour into state television, online trolls, and digital disinformation. The goal is clear: to convince Russians that everything is under control. To remind them that the enemy is external, not internal. But even propaganda has limits. Videos of long fuel lines and unpaid workers can't be hidden forever. Social media, even in its restricted form, reveals a growing sense of despair. People no longer believe the official story. They see the empty shelves. They feel the shortages. Putin's system survives on fear, not faith. Public unrest is growing, but protests are impossible. The regime arrests anyone who dares to speak out. Musicians have been jailed for songs with unpatriotic lyrics. Journalists are silenced. Some, like Olga Kumva, have reportedly suffered torture and psychological abuse in custody. These actions reveal a government running out of options. Instead of fixing the crisis, it punishes those who speak about it. Instead of reform, repression. Instead of truth, terror. But repression cannot fix an empty stomach. It cannot fill a fuel tank. It cannot restore the faith of a nation that feels abandoned by its leaders. Meanwhile, the war continues to drain every remaining resource. Each missile launched toward Ukraine costs millions. Each destroyed refinery or airbase costs billions to rebuild. Ukraine's precision strikes have made this imbalance even clearer. Every refinery hit sends shockwaves through Russia's economy. Fuel becomes scarcer, logistics break down, and supply chains collapse. It takes about 2 weeks for the effects of each strike to reach consumers. But once they do, they ripple through the entire system, from factories to farms. The result is a self-sustaining cycle of collapse. And while Ukraine uses limited resources with surgical precision, Russia throws endless manpower and money into a war it can no longer win economically. Even Russia's ruling class is beginning to fracture. The oligarchs who once enjoyed near limitless wealth now see their fortunes shrinking under sanctions and declining oil revenues. Some have fled abroad. Others quietly prepare contingency plans, transferring assets, moving families, and creating exit routes. Those who remain loyal to Putin do so out of fear, not trust. Inside the Kremlin, loyalty has replaced competence. Positions are no longer earned by ability but by devotion to power. Corruption runs rampant. Every level of government bleeds money, each department fighting to secure its share before the system implodes. Behind every statistic lies a human story. Families waiting days for fuel. Mothers skipping meals to feed their children. Teachers working without pay. Soldiers sent to the front lines without proper equipment, while their families back home struggle to survive. In cities like Rostov, air defense systems have malfunctioned, destroying entire neighborhoods. The irony is chilling, weapons meant to defend Russians are now killing them. Meanwhile, Putin's speeches grow more desperate. His image, once crafted as the strongman of order, now appears isolated, tired, and out of touch. Russia is devouring itself from within. Every ruble printed, every bond issued, every barrel of oil sold is consumed by the machinery of war. No reinvestment, no innovation, no hope. Just endless production of weapons, propaganda, and fear. The government calls it resilience. But what kind of resilience requires destroying your own economy to survive? What kind of patriotism demands starving your own people to fund missiles? This is not strength, it's desperation. The unraveling of Russia is not a sudden explosion. It is a slow, relentless decay. Like a structure collapsing from within, piece by piece, until nothing solid remains. Ukraine's strikes may have accelerated the fall, but the real cause lies in decades of corruption, mismanagement, and lies. A system built on fear cannot adapt. A government built on propaganda cannot tell the truth. And so, while Russia still projects the image of a mighty empire, launching missiles, spreading disinformation, threatening the West, the foundation beneath it is already cracked. The true battle for Russia's future is no longer fought on the front lines of Ukraine. It is fought in the empty fuel stations, the unpaid offices, and the silent despair of its own people. Today, Russia stands at a crossroads, one path leading toward reform and survival, the other toward collapse and chaos. But every decision made by the Kremlin suggests only one direction: deeper repression, heavier propaganda, and endless war. The signs of decay are everywhere. The question is not whether Russia will break. The question is how soon.